So hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this next installment with the dampers, and we're going to be looking at the fast damp and the slow damp. I'll just turn that down a little bit. So yeah, last time out we spent most of the session looking at the bump and rebound, and in this video we'll look at the fast bump and the fast rebound. Now obviously we've had the update which has changed a heck of a lot in the game. Obviously you can see there's no blackened section of the circuit, there's no rubbered in sections, which I seem to have lost a few braking points with those, so I've had to choose different new braking points. I haven't really got one for turn one either. It's a very strange, I just gauged the distance really from where I am to the corner, which is a bit strange really. But yeah, the setup that I'm using is slightly different because I think I can't remember rightly or wrongly, but I'm sure there was far less caster available in the Lexus previously, and the way the dampers were initially set up was terrible. But it's surprising because from our last outing, the dampers are set up very similar to how our fastest lap was run, with I think it was 10 at the front and 20 on the rear. They are so similar. I'm not sure if someone's been watching me doing my setups at the moment. They're that similar. So yeah, I just loaded up the aggressive setup. I'm not using any of the setups that I've made in 1.3.7. I'm doing all fresh setups because I just feel the cars are different. I feel the track grip's different, even though the lap times seem very similar. There just seems to be some differences in the cars and just how they're performing. So if you have downloaded any of the setups from SetSpace website that do say 1.3.7, just bear in mind that we're on a different version of the game now. And as things progress, maybe from 1.5.4 to something else, the setups will change once again. And yes, I think we've all been suffering from that loss of setups from the previous version. So yeah, I'd say it's a bit of a headache, but it's a good thing in a way because those setups just don't work the same anymore. So in this session, like I've mentioned, we're going to be looking at the fast bump. Now I'm going to leave the steady state bump at what we chose last time. 10 and 20. You see me having a bit of a nightmare through that chicane, as everyone does. And we're going to run a few laps. Hopefully it's not going to be as long as the last video. The steady state issue with the dampers, when I say steady state handling is when you're on the track. It's driving around the circuit. It's how you want the car to perform when you're driving the circuit. The fast bump is purely to do with hitting curbs and pretty much just hitting curbs. The car's going to move back and forward when you're braking, when you're accelerating, when the car leans over and you're cornering. All that's going to be down to the standard bump and rebound. It's only when you're hitting curbs or if you're wanting to run a particular curb that fast bump and fast rebound is going to play a part in the setup. So let's just return to the garage. As you can see, the track temperature is 29 Celsius as it was last time, with optimum conditions, and I've started the session at about 11 o'clock. I think we were a little bit earlier last time, maybe it was a little bit colder, around 10 o'clock when we started this last session. But as you can see, looking at the timetables, I've already ran a number of laps just to try and get the car set up again. And I'd probably say within around 20 laps or so, I get a good feeling for how the car's performing, and I've made most of my changes within about 20 laps. As you can see, we're getting towards the better end of the setup. Initially I found it really inconsistent. It was very hard to string a lap together. It was running wide. I feel like the traction control is a little bit less aggressive, in the fact that it allows you more tyre slip at 3 now. So I've moved to 4. It seems to pick up more grip in 4th. As you can see previously on the, I think on the previous setup that we did in the last video, I seldom hit a 29 through sector 1, and you can see there already there's 3 29s in sector 1, so I'm certainly getting a little bit more confident in my sector 1. Still, like I say, I'm still learning this circuit and still trying to nail that perfect lap. As you can see from the sector times there, if I'd nailed the sector, we're probably looking at a low 128, maybe 128.5 would be a good area to aim at if you nailed every sector. But I think as long as you're hitting 128.7s, I think it's a pretty good lap, to be honest. But yeah, let's get into looking at these dampers and this setup. I'm going to save the setup where it is. As you can see, the damper testing setup, I'm going to save over the, in fact I'll save this as a different setup. Damper testing, we'll call it 1.5.4, and we'll just save that, just so we can, I don't even think we'll be able to actually look at the damper testing setup, how it was. So I'll just quickly move away from the video and show you the setup from how it was previously, just so that you can see how things have changed. So looking back to the setups, and it wasn't particularly the casters that came with the biggest change, most of it coming from the rear cambers and running far more rear camber than previously. Looking also at the traction control, I did mention, but yeah, the traction control runs a tiny bit higher now with less aggressive wheel slip, and as you'd expect, there's a whole lot of changes coming from the mechanical grip, along with a few small aero changes. So let's carry on with the video. So obviously, coming back to this video, I don't know what I've just told you, because we're filming this video now, so if things are very different, brilliant, I was right, and if they're not, let's just carry on with the testing, shall we? So yeah, I honestly didn't, I'm sure that the caster only went to 8. It was so light in this car, so it's nice to see that they've added a little bit more caster into this car. I'm sure we were maxing out maybe on the cambers, I can't really remember. Obviously they got rid of the Motec stuff that you can do on PC, I forget the telemetry section within there, and this is something as well that I wanted to just point out. You can see the tyre wear on the left hand side of the screen. I'll try and zoom into, let's say, the bottom left hand corner. I just feel that these are wrong at the moment. As you can see, this is all about the wear in the tyre, and this would be saying that the inside of the tyre is wearing less than the outer edges of the tyre, and that's evident in every single tyre. So whether this on the left hand side of the screen should be the right tyres and the right hand side should be on the left of the screen, I don't know, or whether they've just got the outside of the tyre and the inside of the tyre the wrong way round, because you're always going to be wearing out the inside of the tyre more than the outside of the tyre. It's just natural physics. With the way we've got the cambers set, the inside of the tyre is going to be the bit that's wearing out the most. So that's something they need to look at, because tyre wear it's important to know what's happening with the tyre wear, and if the data's wrong, it's hard to get anything right, really. Yeah, I think this setup is very much different to the previous one, but yeah, I thought it was worthwhile doing the new setup. So as you can see, initially we were running 10. I'm going to go back to this 10 and 10 because I don't think the damper physics are going to have changed a great deal. and I think we were running 20 and 20 at the rear when we got when the best lap was achievable. So yeah, let me run a few laps. In fact, let's do it how we were doing it. So we had the fast bump. Let's get rid of the fast bump. I mean, I'm going to leave the bump and rebound as it is, regardless of whatever happens. This video is purely about the fast bump and seeing if we can see the differences that the fast bump actually makes to the setup. I'm pretty confident that the way the car's set up with the bump and rebound, obviously I've mentioned before that I would usually run them something like that, half as much more on the rebound. That's how I've always done it in every sim I've ever driven on. But for some reason it didn't seem to make a massive difference in this game. You could try 5 more, maybe that would be a thing I mentioned in the last video, but I couldn't believe it actually ran best on this setup during our testing. I was nearly 4 tenths up using this method. So let's just stick with this method and we'll see what difference from the previous fastest lap that I've set, if softening the fast bump and rebound makes any difference to attacking the curbs. So as you can see, the track conditions I'm using is the cloudy preset, and it's 11 o'clock, optimum grip levels. Let's give it a whirl. It says warming them tyres up all the time. We'll just do can just do lap after lap, knowing the tyres aren't being affected. Just bring that up. I like to see it. I don't know why. So just remember, the steady state bump is already being set. We're not looking at how fast I can go around the circuit. We're looking at things like that. When I attack these curbs, how much time am I losing? You see, you still can't just attack the curbs even with the bumps, the fast bump on as soft as it goes. And just so that you know, obviously the softer the fast bump, the softer it is. You know, if you get this much travel when it's soft, you might only get this much travel when it's hard. It's almost, I know Avis has explained it as in water in a glass, and then you've got treacle in a glass, and the spoon was a suspension. Well, just imagine the harder it gets, the denser the compound is that's in the damper itself. So moving through it's going to be a lot harder. So the suspension's going to be a lot more resilient in wanting to move. It's going to be stiffer, just so we get that out of the way. I really think these two curbs here, you sort of want to be running over the middle of the little sausage curbs. All these things hitting these curbs should be playing a difference. Like I say, it's not down to the steady state cornering, the fast bump. Well, we're through there anyway. Through that section as well. Not too bad an exit. See if we can get this right. A lovely lap, 128.5. That took a while getting there, didn't it? So yeah, it's hard to tell the difference with it going over the curbs as to whether softening them completely makes any difference, but surely the fast bumps shouldn't work the way they are. Surely we should have some value in there. So does adjusting them really make any difference? So as you can see, we've had no fast bump in this test. Let's have lots of fast bump and fast rebound. Let's do all of it, and then we'll run a session with 0 fast bump but lots of fast rebound. So there we go, solid rebound, solid fast bump. Let's see how this feels. Like I said, it's not going to be through the steady state cornering. It's just over the bumps that this should play a part. But whether that means you can get the power down quicker or you can ride the bumps better, it shouldn't make a massive difference in how the car handles. I'd say it instantly feels grippier. It's just amazing, isn't it? I'm not that far away. We're not setting anything up. Too hot. Too hot. It's amazing the difference, isn't it? It really is. Going from completely soft to completely hard. And it doesn't really make a massive difference in the lap time. Hardly anything in it, it really is. It feels more responsive, I think, though. I think I would rather have this over the softer bump. So there we go, 28.2. It's getting quicker. So let's return to the garage on that note. See if, because the dampers, you can use the dampers in just exactly the same way as you would soften the anti-roll bar or increase the anti-roll bar to change variations in oversteer and understeer, obviously softening the suspension at the front, softening the rear. All these things change how the car's balanced. So let's say, for example, the car's understeering, you're going to want to soften out either the anti-roll bar or the suspension. And obviously, because we're in a game, it's no hassle to soften either of them. They usually just soften the anti-roll bars in reality because it's such an easier function to do rather than softening the springs. Same with the dampers. You can still do that same thing by softening out the dampers to adjust oversteer and understeer. So let's try just reducing the fast bump. So we've got a really fast bump or a very slow bump and then a fast rebound. So it's going to want to put the tyre back down on the surface as quickly as it can do it. See what that does, eh? Front and rear. But yeah, the last setting we had felt really good. And you can see it did affect steady state handling, whether that's bumps around the circuit. Oh, that was a weird bump. Did you see that one? I think I just hit a stone or a cat. There's a very nasty bump like that in the middle of Eau Rouge sometimes, really off-putting. I'll just restart that again. So yeah, sorry about that, just answer the door. Let's see how this goes again. So that was really weird the first time round. Must have just been my inputs. Oops. Don't know if it feels better over that curve or not. If you hit the curve like that, it's never going to work. It's interesting, isn't it? Because if you just floor it flat to the floor, let's get it down to 1. So long, the lag on that. Even with it off, why does it take so long to accelerate? That's the foot flat to the floor. Let's just try putting it in gear. That's with the engine map on. Yeah. Strange one, isn't it, that? It's no wonder they don't start from a standing start. I'd arguably say it handles set to 1 much better. Even if it's invalidated, we've made 3/10 there. Again, just hit that all wrong. Just ruins the rest of the sequence. That first line into the corner is so important. Let's try this again. Whether I just didn't nail set to 1 the first time. Definitely better through set to 1. Look at those 3/10 through set to 1. Oh! See if we can carry it through here. Nope. Yeah, just making mistakes now. I think this is faster. There we go. Come on now, let's try and get it right. No. Well, we're not going to get it, but yeah, I think that's faster, and I'd arguably say that we could hit a 227 with that setup. So why is it faster, and why is it seems faster in sector 1 than it does in sector 3, and that's an anomaly for me. You can see we've only got 58 seconds, a couple of seconds left, so I'm going to restart the capture. So yeah, that's obviously it's hard to determine what else going on then here. So it was faster with some rebound. How much rebound should we be using? Well, let's get rid of all the rebound at the front. And let's see if having rebound at the rear makes any difference. Let's just try front and rear rebounds. It's obviously quicker with some rebound. So let's take it from there. We already know it's quicker anyway, but does this make any difference? Pity I've not been able to nail that lap. I still think there's something we can learn though from it. Oh nope. Just it's like trying to hold on to a raging bull. Just let it go, Jay. Let it go. I know last time we were doing the setup, it was harder at the rear and softer at the front was better. It wasn't the best line. A good exit. Felt good, but we're losing time all the way through there. One-way ticket to the wall. Doesn't feel as good, it really doesn't. Got to be honest, right from the start it doesn't feel as good. But I still think we're faster than the with some rebound anyway. I don't like it. Just don't like it. Just doesn't feel anywhere near as good. try one last lap with it. Just doesn't feel as responsive. What the hell is that? That's the thing that annoys me most about that curb. I've hit it with one side of the car. Why is it reacting so violently like that? And we're still up. So it's either I had done just a crap first sector with the initial setup, or the rear rebound's playing a part. So let's try no rear rebound, and we'll take that rebound to the front. See how that feels, but it certainly feels better with some rebound in it. I think we're way off the scale with how much rebound to fast bump we've got. Come on. I think this feels better already. Miles off. That's crazy, isn't it? It's miles away, it's just losing so much acceleration. It's just not as precise. There's such a difference. Just amazes me, that. Let's try one more lap, because that's such a difference. These are the differences that I think should be evident if you've set something up wrong. Come on. I think I just set a crap first sector. Yeah, that's definitely better. Better acceleration. From the other car. still, and that was a 128.7, was it? Oh, wrong, turn to garage. Was that last lap? 128.7, so still in the 128s. That's amazing. So I still think from that it was better being softer at the front and harder at the rear. But how much? How hard should it be? Let's try 30 at the rear. And let's try at least some value at the front. If we've got no bump going on, at least some bump, some rebound. Just doesn't make any sense, does it? A lot of sliding going on there. Now is that being caused? Is that being caused from the fast bump settings? Or not? See, there's that cat again. What's all that about? Is that because we're running? Well, we are running some sort of bump, aren't we? Do I just avoid that bump? Let's try again. The annoying thing for me is if you had the bump at the rear on max. I know it's quicker than anything that we've tried so far, and that doesn't make sense, does it? Just understeering and braking, but oversteering in other areas, so it's very hard to know whether it's my mistake or the car. Just don't want to hit that invisible bump. I knew where it was. Just so late on the brake. I really need a braking point for that corner. Very hard to gauge it. Doesn't help hitting the wall. Terrible. Just made every portion of that harder and harder. So obviously that just doesn't feel any better at all. And the crazy values these, they really are absolutely crazy. If I whack that all the way up, let's add a little bit, as if we were doing it in my world again with my logic half and half. So I've got fast bump and twice as much rebound, and we've got nothing at the front. So twice as much of nothing is, let's say, 20, and we've got nothing at the front, nothing on the bump. See how that runs. Just curious. Hit a lot of that curve. Just too hot altogether. All these issues are my errors, they really are. Obviously when you're doing testing you've got to take into account that issue, human error. Just terrible. Turned in just so early. I did wonder from time to time, I can remember doing a video on Project Cars 2 where I used the AI driver and set the car up and let him test it because I thought it'd be more consistent. But then when I drove the car it felt bloody terrible. That's better, it feels much better. And that just didn't slow it down enough. Let's run it again, because I think this car, it feels better. Obviously we're using my Logic. Just seems to suddenly lose grip then. I thought it was alright actually, and I thought we were going to make the corner, and then suddenly it just went. Better. And then left it too late to turn in. Lost all the entry speed, all the acceleration. So at no time, I don't think, using the fast bump, has it really seemed to make any difference on the big bumps. It's not seemed to make any difference at all to them. It's more been the smaller bumps through the circuit, undulation. Keep your foot down. And then we've lost loads on the acceleration. I think there's I still think there's a lot to learn from this, because I feel like I'm more consistently in the 28s with a harder rear end. Not the best. Come on. Yeah, the acceleration off that corner. It's almost like what I make in the first sector I lose. That bloody curb at the front. It is interesting. You just think you're running too much, don't you? I know I do. 35, half 35. Somewhere around there, I think. But the rear end again still wants to be harder than the front. I think maybe we're running too much at the front. Let's do half So we've still gone back to the way I'm doing dampers, really, using half and half. But I think through this series of making the rebound harder and the bump harder, fast rebound harder, and going from making the front hard to the rear hard, you sort of get an understanding of what needs to be hard and what needs to be soft to get the car to work. But it's still not an intuitive way of learning, I don't think. Because we already know I can be 3/10 quicker in this sector. So I'm losing time somewhere there. Nothing seems to change with how I attack the curbs. That feels horrible. Oh, is it how I'm hitting the curb? So there's the 3/10 lap. Oh god, there is a 1:27 there. Either way, I think the car's handling better in this version of the game. Don't think I'm ready to see a 1:26, but it just doesn't want to turn when I get back on the power there. It really doesn't. It's almost like I want to be running less wing, but I know I don't. Or maybe increase the preload a little bit. But I've lowered the preload so much just to get the car to stop. So yeah, it does feel horrible through there, and I just don't know why. I'm sure the ghost that we've got is from the softer settings. I think a lot of it just comes down to my mistakes. Just held the brake too long there, right up to the apex. Just doesn't like that at all. I don't know, I just don't know why. Let's go back to the drawing board. Nothing to do with those, because the cars felt better. It felt better, honestly, when it was like that. So let's see if it goes back to feeling better again. Errors. So fast out of there, isn't it? I'm intrigued to know what that ghost's running. Yeah, I think that's just my errors really. just glanced up at the wrong time, mate. Very, very hard to determine what the hell's going on. It really is. I've got to be honest, it really is. Because it's making a difference. But it's just not knowing what difference. I guess, obviously, I don't know if Motec does make a difference on PC. Having what, I don't know what knowledge they get. You sort of just want to run something that seems representative as being right. Softer at the front, harder at the rear, but of some values. Is it just my errors? Because it seemed to make no difference over the curbs, the sausage curbs, what you run. That was terrible, just too much wheel spin. Just need to be feeding in the power. Sorry about that. All that. It showed my battery was 20%. That's how long I've been filming. Surprised we got away with that. There we go, a 127. Boom. So when you hit those, you think, shall I watch the replay? somewhere around there, it must be. So yeah, I think I'm just going to end the video there, end it on that good note. And I think, yeah, the only way you can really set up the dampers, and I've got to be honest, that's a second faster than where we were at really during the first video. By adding the fast bump, it has made a big difference. I think moving from one version to the next, I think has maybe increased the lap time or reduced the lap time itself by about 3 to 5 tenths, I think. I don't think it was as quick before. The new setup might feel quicker. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is, but adding the fast bump has certainly made this car feel better. Even through the steady state cornering, it's not really changed how I attack the curbs. It's not really benefited the car running curbs differently. I just think you could probably stick with the default aggressive setup, fast bump and rebound, and you'd probably be maybe half a second slower. It really is a tough one. It's a tough one to bring about some learning from doing all this. Let's just have a look at that final lap. 2 personal bests really. So there's a tiny bit in it, but it's pretty good. That my best final sector. Happy with that lap. So you've got a setup there for free. Just run through it so you can see it in its entirety. But yeah, moving back to these, I think the process of going through bump and rebound, make everything hard, make everything soft, see how the car feels, and then make the front hard and make the rears soft, and then make the rears soft and the fronts hard. And I think from that, I think you'll be able to judge which end of the car needs to be hard and which needs to be soft. And I think you could probably run exactly the same. Oh, it's a tough one, it really is. Because sometimes you're going to want the fast bump harder, and you're going to want the steady state bump and rebound to be softer. It depends on the circuit, it really does. But I think, like I said, through this stage, run them through the process that I've done with hard and soft, front and rear. You'll get a feel for whether the car feels better running one or the other. And I think you just do the same with the fast bump and the fast rebound. Just run them hard at the front, soft at the rear, and you'll get a feeling for what's best. So you could run 1, all hard, 2, all soft, 3, fronts hard, rears soft, 4, fronts soft, rears hard, and then that'll give you an idea where you want to set your bump and rebound, front and rear, somewhere in the middle, and then do the same with fast bump and rebound. Fronts, everything hard. 6, everything soft. 7, fronts hard, rears soft. 8, rears soft. Rears, yeah, whatever the other one was. And then you'll get an idea from that. So it's like 8 test runs to find out whether you need hard and soft front and rear. And I think that's all you're going to be able to go with, really. I don't think it makes any difference in reality doing as it says in all the literature you can read, that how you should have bump higher than rebound. It doesn't seem to work like that in Assetto Corsa Competizione. It doesn't make a difference. Whether it will in future updates, I've got no idea, but for now it doesn't make a difference. There's my conclusion to the video, I think. It's been an interesting one, and it's been, I think, one that I've needed to do really, because it has made a difference. As you can see, a 127.9 at Zolder, which is probably not a bad lap, even to be in the 128s. 129s, still good laps. So yeah, definitely a lot to take home from that. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I did have an idea for the next video, but I'll have a think over it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for sticking with the video. It's been a boring one, it really has. So yeah, not particularly interesting. Looking forward to future content within the game. Keep adding those force feedback details for whatever wheel and setup you're using as well. It's just good to be able to help other people that are struggling with the wheel and pedals. So many people still with issues with the wheel and pedals. It's hard to understand because there's so many people enjoying the game. And yeah, that was another point somebody else said the other day on the lobbies. I mean, if we just quit this, I'll just save this setup before we go. So yeah, if we come to multiplayer, I mean, look at them figures, guys. Total players 57. Is that 57 people in the whole world playing this game? You know what I mean? I mean, this other kid was on PlayStation 4, and he said he'd never seen more than 100 players in total. And I thought I might have seen 180 at some point. But there's 213 servers available, and there's just 56 players actually online. Let's say there's 12 out of reach. So that would be 68 players total. But surely that would say, 44. Total number of players 56, really? I don't understand that. I mean, we are middle of the daytime. It's Friday afternoon. Or yeah, is it? Yeah, it's Friday. I'm sure it's Friday. Yeah, it's surprising to see so few players. I'd be interested to see if that changes as the game gets better, and maybe the frames per second change. There's also the issue with the driver ratings and this competition rating still not featuring. There's so many people entering these competition servers and they're not getting anything from it, so definitely something else that needs looking at. So yeah, thanks for joining, thanks for watching the video in its entirety. If you've stayed to the end, much appreciated. And I do apologise to Fast C as well during the last video with my little comment regarding first to comment in the video wins a Fanatec 2.5 base. It was purely a joke. Whether it got seen on the good side of things, I'm not sure, but definitely there's not that sort of money in the channel at the moment. But yeah, thanks for joining, guys, and ciao for now.